Hello everyone, welcome to the next part covering payroll and salary.io. Next, we have the retro payroll run functionality. A retro pay run is the process of finding and processing any salary changes that happened after the standard payroll run for a previous period was completed. This includes making adjustments for payments that were missed or incorrect, calculating back pay, or addressing any other discrepancies that need to be corrected for a past period. We have a use case scenario for the retro pay run. The organization gives an increment to an employee in the month of March, but the effective date of this increment is actually January 1st, 2025. HR updates the employee's salary details in the system, making sure the effective date of the increment is correctly set to January 1st, 2025. The system must then apply this salary change retroactively. It needs to adjust the payroll calculations for the months of January, February, and March, accordingly to reflect the correct back pay owed for those past months. The updated salary should be accurately reflected in the employee's record moving forward, and the system should ensure that all future payroll runs use this new salary figure without any errors or discrepancies. Here we have a process flow diagram for the retro pay process. HR will start the process by going to the Process Execute Retro Pay function. They'll give the retro run a name, select the relevant payroll and period for which they are processing the retro pay, and select the event group that triggered the retro calculation. The system will then execute the retro process specifically for employees who had a change in salary or other relevant events. Any variance in the amount calculated retroactively will be updated and displayed in the retro pay result window. After reviewing and verifying the results in the retro pay result window, HR will transfer the retro components to the employee's component entries to apply the adjustments. If, after verification, there are no changes or discrepancies identified, the process effectively ends here, and the adjusted amounts are ready to be paid. If, however, after the verification, the user identifies some discrepancies or errors, in that case, HR will roll back the retro records using the rollback functionality. The system will then reverse the retro records from all related windows, and the process would need to be reinitiated after fixing the underlying issue. So if there is no changes in the process and in the execution and the values are correct, so system will proceed with the regular payroll processing, incorporating the retroactive adjustments. Here we have the execution steps for running a retro payroll process in the system. HR needs to log into the system and navigate to the Process Retro Pay function. They will give the retro pay run a name, select the relevant payroll name based on the organization, and specify the pay period in which HR is going to process this retro payment. They'll also select the event group that triggered the retro calculation and click OK. The system will then execute the retro pay component calculation for the relevant employees. HR will then verify the calculated figures in the retro pay result window. Once satisfied with the results, they will transfer the retro payroll components into the employee's component entries to apply the retroactive adjustments. If any change or discrepancy is found in the value during verification, HR has the option to roll back the retro records and re-execute the retro payments after correcting the issue. Let's have a look of retro payments in the system. To start with the retro process, the HR executive will first update the employee's salary in the system. So for that, first we will verify the existing values in the Employee Work Information Payroll window. Here, I will go to the Work Information tab and select an employee here. Let's say this one. This person joined in the month of January, but at the time of joining, it was communicated that their salary would be reviewed and revised based on performance. So, at the time of joining, this person was receiving a salary of $23,000. Later on, after the performance review, the salary was updated to $28,000, which is applicable from the 1st of March. We'll see this reflected in the versioning history. And in the main window view, it shows the current salary as $28,000. In the Action panel, when I click on Zoom across and open the versioning table, here we can see that on the 1st of January, the salary of this employee was $23,000. And now, HR has revised the salary from $23,000 to $28,000, and this change is applicable from the 1st of March. The second way we have to upload salary increments is through a specific process function. So for that, I will take another employee as an example. I will go to the Workforce Management section and then navigate to the increment upload process. When I open this process, I need to select the file containing the increment data from the system. I will select the details for the employee with this particular name and open this file. So here the Excel file is picked from the system and is ready. I will click OK and start with the process to upload the increment data. So when I click on OK, here you can see the message Excel uploaded successfully, please check the increment batch number. So I will verify the details of the salary increment upload. I will go to the salary increment upload window. And here we can see one increment upload number with the file information mentioned in this window is automatically created in the salary increment upload section. So where I can see the upload number, the date when this process was executed, and what is the status of this upload. And if I go to the salary increment upload line tab, here I can see the details of the employee which I had included in the Excel file. And when I open this record, I can see I have updated the gross salary of this employee by $6,000 through this upload. Now we will verify the details for this employee in their work information. So for that I will go to the work information window and search for this employee. Go to the work information tab and go to the payroll component details. And here I will select the gross salary component. Now here you can see the gross salary of this employee is $25,000, and the reason for this change is salary increment. If I zoom on this record, we can see the first salary on the 16th of December was $19,000, but recently, I have uploaded the increment amount which is applicable from the 1st of March, resulting in a salary of $25,000. So we will start with the retro process for this increment. So before that, I will show you the Excel file which I uploaded for this employee. This will help verify and understand the salary details that need to be included in the Excel file before uploading it using this process. So let's have a look at the file. So this is the Excel file which I have uploaded in the system recently. In this file we have a few columns. The first column is the employee number. The second is the effective date. Then, service type, component name, input value, increment value, and increment percentage. Here, we need to specify the employee number for whom we are going to upload the increment amount, and from when the change will be effective. So I have mentioned the 1st of March. We also need to define the service type, whether it's an increment, bonus, or something else. So we will upload it here as salary increment. And finally, which component we are going to revise, which is the gross salary in this case. So now we are updating the value for the gross salary component. We are increasing the gross salary of this employee. Gross salary is always prorated based on the number of days worked, and this is based on a formula in the system. That's why we have added the input value type as amount. And here I have added 6,000, which means I need to revise the salary of this employee by 6,000. So here we can give the increase either as a fixed value or as a percentage. We need to select either the percentage or the value for this employee in the file. So if here I can select the value as 30%, it means the salary will be revised by 30%. So you need to choose one method, either the value increment or the percentage increment. So this is the Excel file structure we are using for the increment upload process. To start with the execution of the process retro pay, the user will open the process retro pay function from the salary.io folder. Based on the user's organization, the organization name will appear automatically. The user will give the retro pay run a name here, like April Retro 2025, and select the payroll name. After that, the user needs to select the pay period in which they are going to include and pay these retro amounts. So, here I am selecting the April month. Another field we have is the employee field. If we only want to execute the retro process for one single employee, the user will click on this arrow and select that one employee and then click OK. If the user wants to generate and execute the process for all eligible employees, In that case, we don't need to select any employee in this field. If the user wants to execute the retro process for a specific group of employees, or more than one employee but not all, they can create an assignment set. For example, here I have created one retro assignment set with the name of April Retro. I will select that here. In this assignment set, I have added 2 employees. So this is my retro assignment set name, and in this set, I have included 2 employees for whom we have done the salary changes that require retro calculation. Now I will go back to the Execute Retro Pay Process screen. Select the event group that triggers the retro calculation for salary changes, and click OK. When I click OK, we get the message that retro pay is created for 2 employees. Now we will verify the results in the retro pay result window. Here you can see another line item is created with the retro name, and along with the period. The transfer status is currently blank here, meaning the retro components haven't been applied to the employee records yet. Now we'll go to the Assignment tab within this retro pay result record. In this tab, we can see for how many employees the retro pay was executed. Since we added 2 employees in the retro assignment set, that's the reason only 2 employees are appearing here. So we'll select one employee record from this list and go to the Component Entry tab to verify the calculated values and the variances. Similarly, for the second employee, we'll go back to the earlier employee and go to the Component Entry tab. We'll verify their details and the calculated variance. Upon verification of the values for all employees in the retro run, the user will transfer the components to the employee component entries. So for that, the user needs to click the button to transfer to component entries. So when we click on this button, the system will ask for confirmation to process this transfer of retro pay results to the employee component entries. So we'll click on OK. And here you can see the confirmation message for the successfully transferred component entries to the employee component entries. In the Assignment tab as well, the status is marked as successfully transferred. Now we will verify the components on the employee's work information payroll record. We will go back to the employee details. So this is the Component Entry tab of an employee's work information. So we will refresh it here. And on the bottom, you can see the arrear components are added in the employee work information with the calculated value. So this is the basic salary arrears component, this is the house rent allowance arrears, and the third one is the special allowance arrears. Once these arrears components are added here, the user will proceed with the regular payroll run for the month of April. So when the payment is made to an employee in that regular payroll run, these arrear values will also be included and added to their regular salary payment. Another feature related to retro pay results is the option to transfer or roll back the retro result. Let's say after transferring the components, the user realizes that they either added incorrect information or they forgot to include one more employee and want to rerun the retro pay calculation for everyone in one go, instead of creating a whole new retro pay run. For that, we have another feature called Rollback Component. If we click on the Rollback Component system, we'll again seek the confirmation from the user. When we click OK here, you can see the message as Component Rollback successfully. And when we go back to the employee work information and refresh the record, you can see that the entries for the arrear components have been reversed back and are no longer in the employee component entries section. Another feature we have within the retro pay functionality is for a broader rollback. For example, if I am going to transfer the components again, but this time I want to roll back the retro records not just from the employee component entries, but from all related windows, including the retro pay result window itself. So for that, we have the feature called Rollback Retro Records. So user will click on this and select the retro pay ID which we recently updated, which is April Retro 2025. So I will select that and click OK, then again OK. When I click OK, I got the message as retro record rollback successfully. Now again, we will verify the effect of this rollback. When I go to the retro pay result window and refresh the record, here you can see the entry is rolled back from this retro pay result table. It's also rolled back from the employee work information component entries. so this is the broader rollback feature we have. So, we will again execute the same retro pay process and transfer the components, so that we can then see the results included in the regular payroll run. So, I'll go back to the retro pay result, refresh it to see the results again, and then click Transfer to Component Entries. Now that the arrear entries are visible in the Employee Component Entry section, we'll proceed with the regular payroll run for the month of April. I will go to the Payroll Run window, click on the main window view, and here I will create a new record. I will select the payroll and the period for the regular April run, and selecting the processing type as regular, as we are going to run the payroll for the entire organization or relevant group. Click OK. Once the payroll is executed, the confirmation message will pop up on the screen. So we'll go to the Run Results tab within the Payroll Run record, and here we can verify that the arrear components for both of our employees have been included. When we go into the Run Result details for an employee, here we can see the arrear components are processed and included in the regular pay calculation for April. So here we can see the special allowance arrears appearing, basic salary allowance arrears appearing, along with the house rent allowance arrears. So this is all about the retro processing in salary.io. So once the payroll run is executed and all the payroll records are verified, the next activity for the HR manager or payroll administrator is to roll out the pay slips. So for that, the user will click on the specific payroll run record that was just processed, and then click on the Rollout Payslip button. Only if this Rollout Payslip checkbox is marked as true for the payroll run, will employees be able to see their payslips available in the system or in a drop-down menu for them to download or preview. So we'll click on the Rollout Payslip button, and again, we need a confirmation to proceed. The system will give us a message confirming that it's rolling out the payslip for the month, so that employees can now download their payslip. So here we'll click on OK to acknowledge the message. And here you can see when we click OK, the payslip rolled out option is marked as true for this payroll run record. Additionally, the other buttons like Process, Rollback, and the Rollout Payslip button itself are now marked as frozen, meaning these actions cannot be performed again for this payroll run. So it means the user cannot make any further changes to this payroll run record once we roll out the payslips, and they become available for employees to view and download. Apart from making them available to employees, if HR wants to generate the payslips for all the employees as physical copies or for internal records, on the header tab of the payroll run, we have an option to print payslip. So, the user will click on this and select the PDF output type, and the payslips for all employees in this run will be generated. You can see the payslips are generated here for all the employees included in this payroll run. Secondly, if the user wants to generate the payslip only for one specific employee, on the Run Assignment tab, we also have a print option. If we are selecting any single employee's record in this tab, we'll simply click on the print option there, and the system will print the payslip just for that one employee. Additionally, on the landing page for the payroll run window itself, we have the option to generate the payslip for any specific employee. So here, we have to select the report type, either PDF or CSV, in whichever format you want to print it. We'll select the payroll name, and we'll select the date range for when we are going to generate the payslip. So here I am selecting the April month, and we can select only one employee as well if needed. So here I am selecting one employee and click OK. So let's start with the batch payroll run functionality. A batch payroll run allows users to process payroll for multiple organizations simultaneously, rather than having to do it separately for each one. This feature is particularly useful for companies that manage payroll for different branches, departments, or even entirely different organizations that fall under one larger division or group. Consider this scenario. A payroll administrator is responsible for handling HR and payroll operations for multiple companies that operate under different divisions within a larger corporate group. Each of these organizations has its own employees, unique pay structures, and varying payroll cycles. However, all these different entities are managed centrally through the Onfinity system. To make the payroll process more efficient, the administrator needs a way to execute payroll for all these organizations at once. Using the batch payroll feature in Onfinity, the administrator can effectively process payroll for multiple organizations in a single action. This ensures timely and accurate salary disbursement across all the different divisions managed within the system. So here we have a flow for the batch payroll process. The payroll admin starts by selecting the division from the organization field, and then clicks on Generate Batch Details from the Action panel. The system will then generate lines in the second tab, listing the organizations within that division. The user will then process the payroll for all those organizations from the header tab. The system will process the payroll for every organization listed in that division in the background. Upon completion, the user will verify the results in the payroll run window, and here this process for generating the batch ends. For the execution in the system, HR needs to log into the system and navigate to the batch payroll run window. Here, the payroll administrator will create a new batch and select the payroll start date. From the action panel, they will select Generate Batch Details. The system will create the details for the different organizations belonging to the selected division in the header tab. Now the user will click on the Process button. The system will start processing the payroll for all the organizations in the background. Once the payroll process is done, the user can verify the results in the payroll run window. Now let's see the same scenario in the system. In the HR Management folder, the user will go to salary.io and then navigate to the Batch Payroll Run window. Here, the user will click on the organization field and select the division from the drop-down. They'll give the batch a name here, for instance, May Payroll Process. And here I am selecting the payroll start date as the 1st of May 2025. I will save the record. On the right side, in the Action panel, we have an action button called Generate Batch Detail. The user will click on this. Here you can see when I click on this process, 2 lines are created in the second tab, one for each organization included in this division's batch. If we open this record, we have HQ organization listed, and the second is ABC organization. On this detail level, we could process the payroll for each organization individually if needed. However, if the user wants to process both organizations at once, they will click on the Process button from the header. So here I am going to process the payroll for the batch. The payroll process is completed. Here you can see the rollback and rollout payslip buttons will be enabled, and at the line level, the status is marked as completed, as well as on the header tab. Now user will go to the payroll run window. And when we go to the window view, here you can see that for both ABC Limited and the HQ organization, the payroll is executed. In the HQ organization, 8 employees were processed, and in ABC Limited, 12 employees were processed. This confirms the batch payroll run completed for these organizations. And from here, the user can verify the payroll details before proceeding with further actions. This was the batch payroll processing. Please join us in the next part of our Salary.io training. We'll cover the final few remaining features in more detail there. Thank you.